Hey, this is Mark Watcher, MTC Media here. Georgetown just dropped the top on the UConn 68-62, especially when you consider that Georgetown going into the under 4 was up by 1 point. Then the offense really bogged down. The Hoyas was led by Brandon Murray's 21 points. Jay Heath in his second game back at 13. And for UConn, leading scorer was Adam Sanogo and Tristan Newton. Both of them had 15 apiece. But really the big difference today was offensive rebounds. UConn had 19 offensive rebounds. They had 23 second chance points. And it's what killed Georgetown when they would get those first stops. If they rebound the ball, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm talking to you from a Georgetown win and not a Georgetown loss. And that made all the difference in the world. Probably the biggest thing, one of the biggest takeaways from this one was Primo Spears, 0 for 1 from the field. He had 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Hurley talked about UConn putting length on him, and because they put length on him, it took away his offense. Instead of Primo forcing things, he ended up actually being a distributor, which helped Georgetown. This is the most ball movement I've seen Georgetown had all season. And you think about it, and you can't take back what happened in the first few months. But if Primo is playing in this fashion and not so much one-on-one, this team certainly has more than one Big East wins. A lot of today was stylistic. Also, a pretty good job out of Q. 10.6 rebounds, but he did a good job on Sanogo, even though Sanogo had 15 points and 6 rebounds, and that's a wash. And when you take one of UConn's best players, if not their best players, and you make it a wash, you stay in this game, and it's why Georgetown stayed in the game. But again, I talked about it in my pregame. They could not have the turnovers. Georgetown had 10 turnovers. 7 of them were Brandon Murray's. 8 in the first meeting against UConn by Brandon Murray. 7 today. 15 turnovers against UConn in 2 games. I asked Hurley about it. They have big yards. They have size. They force them into being a decision maker at times. And because of that, Murray's weaknesses as facilitator came out today, came out in the first game. It's a tough way to go. I mean, otherwise, he had 21 points, but you can't have 21 points, 4 rebounds, 7 turnovers, and 5 fouls. One of the other points of contention in this game that Hurley made sure he brought up was he didn't like the free throw attempts. They were 2 for 5 from the free throw line, didn't like that number 5, but I thought that Georgetown did a good job. In the first half, UConn went through this spurt where they were seeking out contact and they were just throwing their bodies, and the referee wasn't rewarding them for it. And frankly, I didn't think there were fouls. And that's the one thing about Hurley, and it's something to watch for if you like UConn throughout the season. When Hurley gets into that whiny, why aren't you blow the whistle, blah, 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 his players follow behind that. I thought Hurley's complaining got UConn out of rhythm that they started the game in. And so that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, the biggest shot of the game came from Alex Caravan, the freshman. Hits a big 3 after Georgetown gets a stop. It was a second shot chance again. It gets kicked out. He hits the 3, gives UConn the lead, and UConn never turned back. Now, Caravan he's a freshman. He's 3 for 7 from the 3-point line today. Had 11 points, but probably made the biggest shot of the game. For Georgetown, when you only have one conference win and you've played as hard as you've played in the last few games and had the opportunities that you've had in the last few games, it's just tough to keep losing games like this time and time again. But I will say this, you would rather lose a game like this where you look like you know what you're doing than lose some of the games earlier in the year when they didn't look like they knew what the hell they were doing. The other kudos I have to give is the crowd here. The crowd was terrific here today. Now, you can say a lot of that is because of UConn. You heard the Let's Go Huskies chant. It made you think that you were in stores. But I also thought that the players fed off of all the energy in the building. And it just makes you wonder, if you can get a team in here that is good, what this building and what this program could be. Well, I'm wrapping it up here. UConn 68, Georgetown 62. You're going to catch me not too long from now heading over to AU Colgate as the Eagles will take on the first place Colgate Raiders. Colgate has not lost a game in the Patriot League yet, so should